Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So I know we've been talking a lot about the LCS recently. Obviously, they just kicked off last weekend. There's a ton of craziness going on, a ton of drama, a ton of news, a ton of stories. But obviously, I still want to get those LEC stories out when they come up. And with the LEC kicking off this coming weekend, there's a lot of trash talk starting to go around. There's a lot of hype starting to be drummed up about the league. And I actually came across this article from Invin Global where they sat down and were talking with Leader, the new mid laner for Vitality. And the headline is, it doesn't feel like Bwipo is playing top lane properly. Maybe jungle is the perfect role for him. And we know Leader, and it seems like a lot of these Vitality guys are no strangers to trash talk. They're going to be, talking a big game and hopefully backing it up on the Rift. But man, this article seems like it could have some spicy stuff. So I'm interested to check it out, read it over, and discuss what I think with you guys. Definitely make sure you guys do drop a like on this video if you do enjoy it. I'd appreciate it so much. It definitely helps me out with the YouTube algorithm so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content so you guys don't miss out on anything we've got going on in the future. With that being said, let's see what Leader's got to say. He's calling out Bwipo. He talks about Fnatic a little bit in this article. It's kind of all over the place, but definitely some good stuff, hyping up one of the new exciting teams in the LEC and Vitality. So, helming the mid lane for Vitality, Leader is preparing for his true debut in the LEC. Obviously, we've seen him before on just a short stint in the LEC, but this does seem like this will be his first legitimate opportunity to actually be the starting mid laner for a team for an extended period of time. So after spending 4 years in the leagues below the LEC, the Norsemen will try to make the playoffs of Europe's premier competition and then see what happens from there. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people comparing Vitality and Leader to Fnatic this next split and seeing which team's going to come out on top when they face each other, which team's going to come out on top in the standings, whether these teams will face off in the playoffs, who could potentially go to Worlds, with Self-Made leaving Fnatic, going over to Vitality, the trash talk between the two teams, and just how everything went down. There's going to be a lot of craziness and a lot of hilarity. Bwipo going to the jungle, replacing Self-Made, all of that stuff. So, here we have the first question where they say, welcome to the LEC. How do you feel after you finally received this opportunity? Were you expecting it mid-split, or did you think it would come next year? And he says that he did seem like the mid-split transfer would be less likely. Obviously, joining between spring and summer, there's usually not as many opportunities there. But he knew it wasn't out of the question. It's nice to be back again. It doesn't feel like he's back again. It feels like the first time. And again, that's what a lot of people are saying. But a good question here was, last year you were playing really well, but you didn't join the LEC for 2021. Why do you think that was the case? And were there no offers? So he actually talks about the teams that were talking to him this past offseason and teams that he could have potentially ended up on. And I think that's pretty interesting stuff. He says there were offers from 3 teams, Fnatic, Excel, and SK, but they all decided to go in different ways. Excel, it seemed like he was their second option. Obviously, Excel ended up going with Jekyllad in the mid lane, and that ends up being pretty funny because now just one split later, they've already given up on Jekyllad. He is gone, and now they have Nuke Duck in the mid lane. Like, that's weird. Maybe, Leader wasn't the right option for them either, but it doesn't seem like Jekyllad worked out too well, so that's kind of interesting. And then he said for SK, they were demanding a little bit too much anyway, and then Fnatic, it was actually considering Leader in the mid lane. We had heard those rumors previously in the offseason, but obviously that didn't end up working out. So we were just kind of wondering, was that real? Was that legit? How close was this to happening? And Leader says here that Fnatic went with another option, and one of the reasons was that Bwipo didn't want to be on the same team as him. So that is very, very interesting stuff. Part of me wants to say that it's kind of, it doesn't make too much sense. Like, is there some past history between these two guys? Is there some beef? How much say does Bwipo really have? I guess probably a lot since he's been with the team for so long, but, it's not like Bwipo is just like, no, we're not getting Leader. But obviously, a lot of people are skeptical of Leader and whether or not he is a LEC caliber mid laner, whether he is a top of the table LEC caliber mid laner, whether he has the champion pool playstyle, whatever, to be able to fit in the league. And coming into the season, Fnatic had very, very high expectations. People were not expecting them to be a 4th, 5th, 6th place team that they kind of look like now heading into the summer split. People were expecting them to be a top 3 team. Rogue kind of passed them up as the season went on. Mad Lions kind of passed them up as the season went on. And disappointing. It was just really an overall disappointing split from Fnatic. But, yeah, I can totally see how at the time you could maybe be like, yeah, maybe Leader's not exactly the right guy for us now. And, man, how crazy could things have been? How different could things have been? If Leader was a mid laner for Fnatic, what would have happened to Niski? Would he have ended up on 100 Thieves? Would Abadage have never left Schalke and gone 100 Thieves? Where would Abadage be now? the League of Legends world is so crazy how all the little dominoes fall and it ends up affecting everyone's career. It ends up affecting tons of teams, tons of players, overall leagues, and stuff could have been so different. So, man, just thinking about how Fnatic could have been with Leader in the mid lane. Would they have been better? Would they have been worse? The next question is, you would have been already playing with Selfmade. Obviously, Leader and Selfmade are really good friends. They wanted to play together, and man, they could have already been together on Fnatic last split. And if that went well, maybe Selfmade would still be on Fnatic. If Leader was with Fnatic, maybe Bwipo wouldn't be a jungler. Maybe Bwipo would be a top laner. Adam wouldn't be on Fnatic. All of this craziness could have happened. And then, after the quote in the headline of the article, now he's talking about Bwipo again. It really seems like there is some animosity potentially here between Leader and Bwipo, and this could be fueling that Vitality Fnatic rivalry, and I'm so here for that. I think that is so hype, so exciting, and that's going to be a ton of fun to watch. There's going to be so much talk about Selfmade versus Bwipo in the jungle, but really Fnatic versus Vitality as a whole. Obviously, Fnatic is a very storied team with a huge fan base, and Vitality is an up-and-coming team that's fan base is growing very quickly as they start to pick up all these players. So, he said, you will be playing with one of the best junglers in Europe. What do you think of the mid-jungle duo for you guys? He says he thinks it's going to be a factor. The winning recipe would be all 5 of us working together well, but he thinks that the mid-jungle has always been a big part of the game historically. Obviously, there's great synergy there between him and Selfmade. Hopefully, they can show that on stage. He also says they have the rest of the stuff for Bwipo. I can't. Here we go. So, he said you have a different champion pool compared to the other mid laners. You love playing assassins, melee champions, which I think is an underrated quality because not all players can play those. He talks about expanding his champion pool. To be honest, that's going to be a really big thing for Leader is, can he play the champions to be able to sustain himself at the LEC level? There's no doubt Leader is very talented and very good at what he does and playing his game, but can he fit the different patches, the different metas? Things change so fast in the League of Legends world. They also asked, what do you think of the overall level of the LEC after some of these mid-split changes and role swaps? How and which of these role swaps do you think will have success? And he said the SK1 is going to fail miserably, and he thinks the Fnatic one is honestly not so bad. I think that's kind of what a lot of people are thinking. The SK1 seems really scuffed, really weird, really last minute. And for Fnatic, I think a lot of people, they think it's crazy and weird, but a lot of people could see Bwipo as a pretty solid jungler. He said, so do you think that Bwipo is actually not made for top lane? And he said, yeah, he's good at the game, but I feel like he doesn't play top lane properly. Maybe jungle is the perfect role for him. And I just thought that was absolutely hilarious because coming off of this last split where Bwipo was running down, Bwipo was inting a lot, there was a lot of people saying that, hey, maybe Bwipo doesn't really know what's going on here. Maybe he isn't playing top lane properly. I mean, he had so many crazy, weird deaths. He really threw so many different games for Fnatic, and it wasn't all his fault. We don't really know what the comms were like, what was going on behind the scenes, and Fnatic as a whole was really just all over the place last split, but really funny to hear. It's like kind of some praise and kind of some flame at the same time, being like, he's a good player, he's just a bad top laner, but I think he'll be a good jungler. Like that's just so funny to me, just taking shots at Bwipo in the top lane. And also, in the same interview saying Bwipo is the one that prevented him from joining Fnatic, and maybe if Bwipo wasn't there, would Leader have been the Fnatic mid laner? Again, really crazy, really interesting stuff that I thought came out of this article. I thought they did a really good job, asked some good questions, and it's just getting me more hyped up for the start of the LEC season, getting me more hyped up for some of these matchups that I just can't wait to see. I'm so curious how well Leader's going to do, how well Vitality's going to do, how well Bwipo's going to do in the jungle, and I can't wait to see it. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this story? Do you think Fnatic should have gone with Leader? Do you think they're better off with Niski? Is there a different mid laner you'd love to see on Fnatic? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!